Hi, welcome to Oakland Is. I'm your host, Yasmin Michele. Our guest today is Jabari Alii. Jabari is a classical pianist and composer. Welcome to the show, Jabari.
Thank you. Welcome. It's nice to be here, Yasmin.
Great. Tell us a little bit of, tell us what sparked your interest in playing the piano and more specifically classical music.
Well, yeah, it's a bit of a long story, but to keep it nice and sweet, I've been playing piano all my life. My father plays. I've been playing since I was about 5. I started out in a little bit of classical, but I didn't quite like it. It was a little too structured. I quickly moved on to jazz. It was very free. And that's what I spent most of my time in, but I definitely, just swam through so many different genres. Just I was young, just exploring myself. Yeah. But recently, I've moved back to California, and I've just found a lot of beauty in the classical music, and especially, one day I want to get into film scoring and things like this. And I think that's just where my love returned.
So when you said you moved back to California, I guess I should have said that you are a California native, but you spent the majority of your years in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that's right.
Previously known, I guess, as Chocolate City.
Right.
And so did you study traditionally music, and if so, where?
Yeah, so I've been studying music forever. I know I studied out in Maryland. There was a school called Levine School of Music. I was in there while I was in high school, and then after high school I went to Howard University. I was doing music education there in DC. So yeah, I've always been studying music, and of course, again, my father would teach me a lot. So yeah, it's just always been in my life. But granted, it was a little bit off and on because sometimes it was just difficult to have that discipline. But yeah, constantly been studying
and being just young and exploring different avenues as well. So have you ever played with your father, and what does he play? And what did he teach you to play? You said he taught you a lot, or just in general about music.
Yeah, for sure. We've got to play together a lot, and I love that. So I guess let me backtrack a little bit. The reason why I moved out here is because I actually grew up with my mom, right? So we have had a chance to play together a lot, though. Sometimes we would go to Fantasy Studios in Berkeley when I'd be visiting, and we do some stuff together then. And I know even back then, sometimes I was doing a little hip hop or a little bit, so I would do stuff, collaborate with his band, and we do all kind of cool stuff together. And we actually have shows coming up. Well, we've performed a couple times at 57th Street Gallery, and, we've got more coming up, and, nice stuff like that. So nothing huge yet, but some little things here and there. Yeah.
So you're digging, and you're getting there, and great. And so you talked about your collaboration with your father, and I understand you're also doing some things on your own as well, solo. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm working on a classical piano album. It's called Prelude to Everything. And that, that whole name is just basically like a new beginning, right? We go through a lot of different phases and stages in our life, and I guess the CD is just symbolizing like a new journey, and just this is kind of just that prelude to everything, just expanding out to see where this new journey takes me, right?
Okay. And so how long have you been working? I'm sure that it's I would imagine that it's a journey in when you get inspired and things like that. So how long have you been working on compiling your music on this particular
on this CD?
Album?
I've been, I would say it hasn't been that long. I would say 6 months tops. And only recently in the last few months have I really started grinding it out, because I was just kind of testing the area and testing the space and just having fun with it, really.
And when you say testing the area, what do you mean? The area, the genre itself, or
my own ability, and also the reception that I would get from my peers and audience and family and friends, etc. And seeing, hey, am I good enough to even embark on this right now? But I kept getting so many good results and so much good feedback that I was like, okay, I started picking up the pace, right? And then so now, it started out like, hey, I'll just put out a little demo with 4 songs to like, boom, next thing you know, I'm doing like composing 3 in a week, and then
and I'm sure that I mean
yeah.
with music, being it's an art form and creativity, so I'm sure that I would imagine that you have to, that there's an inspiration that comes, and no matter what the inspiration may be, whatever emotion that is, then that would inspire you to writing or composing as well.
Yeah.
So have you ever studied any of the, being in a traditional education environment, studying music, I'm sure you've studied some of the great classical composers, and including any black great classical composers, or just talk about, tell us some of the composers who've inspired you, or just musicians in general who you've been inspired by.
Right, definitely. So that's that question brings up a lot of interesting aspects, because only recently have I listened to a lot of classical music, which is interesting of how I decided to start composing it. So I mean, of course, you got some people who are kind of popular right now, like, your Jared Radnich and things like that. But then, I mean, most of my favorite composers are like the old school jazz cats, your Ari Tatum and, I mean, Oscar Peterson, obviously Thelonious Monk, that's my favorite of all time. And then, to be honest, my dad is one of my favorite composers as well. He's got this song called Blessings.
Really? Well, great. Well, with that, finally, you'll bless us with one of your compositions. And can you tell the audience, tell us what the name of it is?
Oh, well, yeah, it's Intrepid Soul, and that's, kind of a nod to my own name, Jabari, which is Swahili for fearless. And, Intrepid Soul is kind of just like a brave soul. So.
Right. Well, let's hear it.
All right.
Great. welcome back to the second segment of Oakland Is. Our guest is Zina Hall. Zina is a musician and singer. Welcome, Zina.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, great. Tell the audience how you got started singing.
Actually, I'm one of 4 singers in a group called Promise, and we sing contemporary songs, contemporary gospel music, and we've been singing for several decades, and I want to say how many decades, but since I was very little.
Okay.
And we actually come from a family of musicians in the Bay Area, up to and including Fred Jackson, Sam Jackson, who's my late father, and we actually have a church in San Pablo where my mother is currently the pastor.
Okay.
But we sing 4-part harmony, we sing a cappella, and my sister actually sings and plays most of the songs. She actually writes them, and we together actually chime in and rearrange them and compose them so that they fit us.
Okay. And so, where have you been performing?
Well, we sing actually at our church almost every Sunday.
Okay.
And upon request, it can be anywhere in Northern California. We've traveled as far as Washington, D.C., Virginia. We've been to Nashville, Memphis. So we go where we need to go.
Where you need to go.
And we've even sang, believe it or not, in bar and grills.
Oh, wonderful.
Really?
And that's a different spin.
It is.
And is that because of your music is crossover, or tell us why and what inspired that?
Well, we sing a little bit of sort of an 80s flavor. We can sing a little bit of a Helen Reddy style. We sing some traditional. But when we go into the bar and grills, we actually wear jeans, put on the little laid-back shirts, and maybe even a cowboy hat, and we start singing, and they go, sounds like it's gospel. It's because it is. Okay. But we have that ability to go there.
Okay. And there's been a lot of conversation and some controversy about gospel being a little too contemporary, a little too crossover, or a little too R&B. And some folks adore it because they say, well, you're reaching out to folks, and the spirit is the spirit despite
Exactly.
The genre of the music. And so can you speak a little to that, of why you all were able to cross over and what inspired you to do so?
I sure will. Actually, my father actually had a crooning voice, almost like a Sam Cooke voice, before he passed. And before he actually became saved and a pastor, we were surrounded by all types of genres of music. And I'm actually by default a classical ballerina growing up. So we had classical music around us. We had not very much hip hop, a lot of gospel. We had traditional. We had songs like "God Didn't Make Little Green Apples," "It Doesn't Rain in Minneapolis in the Summertime." So we had everything you can imagine around. Barbara Streisand, other Evie. "No, you can't get to heaven, but I'm 4'11" and it makes me feel 10 feet tall. Okay. So with all of that, it sort of shaped us. And the day when my father actually accepted the Lord, he was listening to a song that is actually, it was a secular song, but the Lord spoke to him through it. Okay. And as a result, it just gave us all of this flavor.
Okay. And so you talked a lot about your family being singers, but just musicians in general. So do you or any of your family members play an instrument?
We do.
And if so, what instruments do you
I play the piano. Okay. One of my baby sisters, she also plays the piano. The one who actually writes our songs, LaRonda Martin. Okay. She writes all the music. And my mother is actually the pianist. Okay. So LaRonda and I learned to play the piano sitting by my mother's feet when we were little. So we would just watch her play the piano and we could hear the music. We can't read a note. We can't read any music at all, but we'll play by ear. My dad's a singer. My sisters, some play the guitars, and one plays the drums. And my brother is actually a producer, a major artist right now. Okay.
And so in producing, you have some CDs available or music that's out, and if so, where can one download and or listen to your music?
Okay, you can actually.
And are you working on anything currently?
Well, we're working on a few new songs right now. The the song that's out, or the title track, is All in His Time, and that's on CD Baby right now. You can get that, and you'll get about 13 tracks, and we no longer make 13 tracks on CDs anymore, so you're getting a sort of a jewel there, okay? But you'll be surprised. The new CD that we're working on is not titled yet, but our mother is actually singing on it with us.
Oh, beautiful, great. So who are some of your favorite artists? Now or in the past?
Oh, you say who are a few. There are a lot, but Gladys Knight, obviously you can tell I sort of have a raspy voice like her. I like the staple singers. I like Mary Mary, Sam Cooke, Otis Redding. Let's see, you want me to keep going? Barbara Streisand.
So, like you said, you have a full genre of likes, and you're also. I know that oftentimes artists are struggling artists, and so sometimes they have to pay the bills in other ways.
This is true.
And so I understand that you are into real estate as well.
I'm a real estate agent as well, and I've actually picked that up several years ago from other things that I used to do in my past. I was an operations manager and project manager, and owned my own business at one point in time. But through the transition of life, I ended up going into the real estate business, and I love it. It also gives me time to sing and play at different churches, and go around with my cousins sometime and play with them. So I like that. So
a struggling artist can be a struggling artist in different respects, as I know that 50, they said something like 53% of black wealth was lost during due to the Great Recession. And so, which will take a few generations, I would assume, to rebuild that black wealth. So how is the real estate business? At this time?
Well, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's actually very good right now. It's on the rise. The short sale market is going away, and we're leaning towards the contemporary market at this time. So that's a very good thing. Property values are increasing.
Yes.
And that's a good
And with the property value increase, particularly in the Bay Area, throughout the country now, there is also gentrification that's happening as well. So would you speak to some of your experiences around, or if you've experienced any potential or prospective customers who are having issues due to, and particularly in the black community, due to the Great Recession and the gentrification and lack of funds, and lack of funding in the ability to acquire a home?
Okay, I can speak a little bit to that, more so the West Oakland area. That's a prime area right now. And historically that's been, the residents were African American, blacks, whatever you like to call us on any particular day. But we had a stake in some of those homes, and the homes were aged. They were built in the early 1900s, some as early as, or as late as the late 1800s. Right now, because it's such a close proximity to San Francisco, and folks have either lost their jobs or they're on stabilized incomes, fixed incomes, they can no longer afford their homes. So they either run the risk of losing them, or they try to modify their home loans, and they don't have the means to do so. So unfortunately, that means a lot of folks out of the area are coming in, purchasing the homes at a lower value, and then they're able to put the money into it and rebuild it.
Okay, and so finally, so with you juggling two hats, they often talk about now that everything will be moving forward, that everything will be about credit. And so I was listening to an interesting conversation about that oftentimes folks don't even know about the credit ratings and who these three big parties are, or businesses are, Experian, Equifax, and whatever the third one is. And so can you speak a little bit about that and how it relates to qualifying for a home?
In terms of their credit worthiness. It's credit.
And how do you start rebuilding your credit after this?
Well, and I'm not quite a credit counselor, but from my experience with being able to re-enter the home purchasing market, lenders want to see that you have staying power. They want to know that you can have this limit, you may not use it, but you're paying on it regularly.
Okay. And so we know that we'll be hearing from you on a regular basis,
yes.
continue to hear from you on a regular basis. And again, if you would tell the audience where that they could obtain your music and or download it?
Certainly. They can actually go to cdbaby.com and look for Promise Christian Artists of California.
Great. So we'll be seeing you actually on a regular basis, and you are going to be performing a song for us now, today.
Yes.
And what song is that?
That's God Gave Me You, and it was written by my sister, LaRonda, and she was actually singing to her children, but it actually can cross over into a wedding song. And
We'll take it
you name
away.
it. Thank you so much.
Now it's time to say goodnight. I pray for you with all my might. God, please keep you safe from hurt and harm. I thank God He gave me you. I hope I make your dreams come true and be the one you need to help you grow. God gave me you. From heaven's open door, He gave me you. I couldn't ask for more, He gave me you. I look into your eyes at night, kiss your face and hold you tight. It's true. God gave me you. I remember when I saw your face. Oh, what a precious case. You needed me like I needed you. Oh, what a precious gift. First one on my list. Wrapped up and tangled up in love. God gave me you. From heaven's open door, He gave me you. I couldn't ask for more, He gave me you. I look into your eyes at night, kiss your face and hold you tight. It's true. God gave me you. He gave me the moon that shines at night and the sun that shines so bright. He gave us the rain to make things grow. And there's one thing that I know, He gave me you. He gave me you. He gave us the earth and the trees and the flowers and the trees. He gave us the sun that shines at night, and you're always on my mind. He gave me you. He gave me you. God gave me you. From heaven's open door, He gave me you. I couldn't ask for more, He gave me you. I look into your eyes at night, I kiss your face and hold you tight. It's true. God gave me you.
And that does it for this segment of Oakland Is.